Hi, I'm Lori with To The Trade for Interior Design Community, and this is Niall. Hi, Niall.
Hi.
How's it going? Did you
Good.
survive the heat wave?
We're making it. We're making it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was in New York this week. I went to Ferguson to do a talk on AI, and it was 100 degrees in Ferguson showroom in New York City. Not super fun at all. And today we have like the best guests ever, Hot Young Designers Club, and it's Rebecca Plum and Sean Shearer. Is that it? Is that it?
Sirha? Yeah, that's okay.
You guys are just like the coolest of cool. I mean, I remember the moment you came on the scene, I was like, finally, someone has a sense of humor. Somebody is fun. Thank God.
I mean, we should always say
We were not finding it when we started our show.
and we like to say we're not that hot or that young.
Yeah.
This is a tongue-in-cheek name, but we have fun.
I'm living in my daddy era right now, so yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
in on
I
the
think
joke.
you guys are hot and young. I
Well,
mean,
you
compared to
try.
me.
I love it.
Well, how did you come about this? Like, what was it that you felt like? I'll start with you, Sean. Like, what was it that
Mhm.
made you feel like this was something you had to do?
I'm like kicking my feet right now like a little schoolgirl because I'm thinking about when Rebecca and I we first met in person. We met on Instagram. We were talking on Instagram around One Room Challenge, and we went and met in the first time we met in person was at Vegas Market. And you could not shut either one of us up the entire weekend. We were like, maybe we will only go to a few showrooms together and it'll be nice to say hi to each
Oh
other.
no, Sean
We were with each other every moment.
did not commit. He's like had an out from the beginning. Like this girl could be crazy. Like let's just meet at the
Yeah.
airport. Like make sure you're not psycho. Like he like vetted me.
Yeah.
This is Sean.
And I was
his
like, maybe we'll go
boundaries.
to a few. Let's look at your showroom list. Like, we'll look at your
Yeah,
showroom
are
list
you
and find some
cool?
overlapping ones we'll go to together. I was like,
I
like,
might have to leave in
you don't
5
know if you're going to
minutes.
get to Disneyland and not want to be with them. Like,
And we should also
Oh,
say
believe me,
this.
Niall and I have done many shows together, so we totally get it. And I'm like, I have to give Niall his space sometimes, and sometimes I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, Niall,
Yes. She's very much
you're
a
on,
people
you're on,
person.
you're on.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
I
need your
have.
downtime too. But we had a
Oh
great
my
weekend
God,
out of
yes.
it. And
Yeah.
we just like didn't stop. And then it was like
It was January
the
2020.
things
We
we were
should
bringing
say.
up. I'm like,
Oh
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like Vegas Market, Winter Market's January for us. And then it wasn't long after that, everything shut down. She's in Northern California, I'm in Southern California. And we just couldn't see as many designers and talk and learn. And at that time, my business was about 3 years in. And so that's like a key place where you're still building, but you're also trying to get to like the level off. Now we can serve the cabin type of behaviors of the flight is cool. Now we can do more. And that's when I needed it the most. And I needed that support from Rebecca. And we were doing it for each other. So we were like, Rebecca said, why don't we record this? It was like a crazy idea she came up with.
oh wow.
She
So,
pitched it to me like the week before COVID lockdown in California.
It was that
Rebecca,
week.
how many years and senior in business are you to Sean?
We're about the
Just
same.
curious.
We have a lot of like.
About the
Yeah,
thing,
same in
we're very
design, yeah.
similar. Okay, that's
Mhm.
really cool too. So you were sort of, like I want to say you're juniors, you know what I mean? You're juniors in high school,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Juniors in college, and you're like comparing notes and
Yeah.
sharing
And like finding your
information.
crew kind
You
of
joined
like
the
locking
study
in.
club.
It was very like.
Yeah.
It felt like college, honestly, when you say that. It was the first time since college, and let me just say, it's been a couple decades that I met somebody new that I couldn't stop talking to. And we just had so much in common and had so many things we were struggling with similarly. We would talk on the phone for hours, like literally every day after
Oh,
we
I
met,
love
which
that.
was so
It was
weird.
those like no you hang up phone
And it
calls.
was the era of like, don't call, text first, like this, like I wasn't taking calls for hours from friends.
No, we would just get on the road and you're like, I have 40 minutes till I get to my next appointment. What are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm working on a proposal.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I think we both surprisingly let down our vulnerability very quick because we needed more help than we needed to be guarding ourselves.
And we weren't
So
in the
we were
same
like,
market either.
I don't know. I just
so-
got to ask. Yeah. no competition. I didn't feel threatened. I felt like we both had our best interest in heart, and I feel like that's the energy we try to bring to the show, is
what's kind
having
of
other designers' best interest at
It's
heart.
kind of funny though, thinking about it. It's surprising because that's not your MO typically. Like you
It's not.
you do
Oh no,
like
it's not.
ask questions first, trust second, like
Yes.
which I don't know, we just
that's my
clicked.
childhood trauma though. That's
Yeah,
that's why my
which
therapist
I know
and
now.
we take care of that.
But I don't know, it does feel
I
kind
love
of
it.
kismet, like we just clicked and that was it. So the way we started it is I
Mhm.
went to the Design Influencers Conference. It was like March 15th, 2020 in San Francisco. And it was all about like owning your content, like not letting Meta like have all of your followers and trying to like move into platforms where you could own your audience. And podcasts were a big conversation. So since we'd been talking all the time, I drove home from the city and I'm like, you know, things are kind of weird. Like there was like everyone had hand sanitizer out. Like they're starting to say like we might have to
And
stay
she's like,
home
I
for a
think
few days.
I think this is gonna be big.
Like maybe this is a time if we're not able
You're
to
like, wait a
leave.
minute.
Yeah, maybe we should just try this podcast thing. So like literally our first show aired April 1st, 2020.
2020.
Oh wow. You know,
Yeah,
honestly, I've seen that story sort of unfold
crazy.
from people who've met at High Point or people who've met and
Mhm.
partnerships with designers or, you know, these kinds of things. Sometimes it's like a coaching program or I remember when years ago, Kelly Ellis and Lori Gilders, or not Lori Gilders, another Lori, started like design camp, things like that. You know, things
Hmm.
like that, where there were lots of these, and it's where you can find people who are kind of just like you going to market sometimes, and you just get that spark sometimes. Have you done anything that safeguarded that relationship? Because once you enter into this kind of thing, partnership kind of thing, the rule like, or did you just go into it blindly, or did you have like a plan, like what if
There's
what if
legal
we have a
paperwork.
fight, what if we this doesn't work out?
we
Yeah.
we have a California general partnership, so it's a it's official.
It's legit. Yeah.
Oh, it is
Um,
official.
Yeah.
But we didn't start knowing what it was gonna be. So we just thought, like
Like,
Rebecca's
it
like, we'll
wasn't
get these mics.
monetized.
Here's some entry level mics, and we record on Zoom. And we were just like, oh, there's a couple cheap programs that'll host it for us. And we just thought, we didn't know what we were getting into really. And then the feedback, the listeners, like it was very encouraging. We were excited. And then suddenly you're managing the Instagram. Now there's a website. Now we have an editor. Like we didn't start with that. And there was a point where, what year was that? 2021, late 2021
was
or
late
summer 2021, I
2021.
think it was, right?
Yeah.
And looking back, in extreme burnout. I mean, everything started lifting kind of like autumn 2020. Our industry just started going too fast and I was unprepared for all of that. My dad was ill at the time and living in my home for a period. And I think I just got so exhausted that I could barely keep my own business like moving. And the podcast was just like recordings and guests and making plans. And it was it's a full operating business for us. So it really does take time. And I would say that we had to learn each other's like limitations, but also the things that would excite us more. So there's things that I can bring to Rebecca that I know is like, the minute I mention this, I know she's gonna start running with this thing I have. So I should only hand it to her when I know she has space, time, energy, and capacity to like nurture that creative idea that we're having for the show or something. But it makes me think of the same that for designers who partner, or if you work with a senior designer and a junior, that you want to bring them something not only that they'll like doing, but when it's going to
timing.
make the best magic for you. And I think
Yeah.
we've definitely had to find that for each other. We've had those tense moments. We've had let me come back to you next week. Like,
Yeah. We talk a lot about personality types and I've learned a lot about my own personality in this business specifically. And we have tried to figure out, what is the best time and place? Like, okay, he's freaking out. I'm just going to handle this part. But the other part that we weren't taking our own advice on originally was any kind of help. We were doing everything. on the podcast side. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll learn how to edit podcasts. Like I've never done that before. And so I was editing up into the middle of the night before I was supposed to go live. And that is not in Shaun's comfort zone at all. Like it was very traumatizing to him where I'm just like,
Like
it'll get
waking up
done.
not knowing. Yeah.
I'm like,
waking up not knowing if it got published. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'm very like push it to the limit. So that was part of the okay,
Mhm.
when he decided to come back and relaunch the show, we had some come to Jesus moments of like, we're only going to do this if we can support the show can support itself at least to get this bare minimum taken care of. So we had to have we had to have editing help, and we had to have a bank of shows so we weren't going live the day after it was edited. So now we have a buffer,
like
which
doing your design presentation the day of.
which
like,
I do.
Wait,
Like,
don't put
I
it together
still
the
do
day
that.
of.
Like I still do that to a point. But he can't handle that. So that I don't want to stress out partners. So we found ways to compromise and work up ahead. So we have a buffer of at least a couple shows. We have a VA who helps us do some of the marketing and just the boring stuff we don't care about anymore. Sorry, Sarah, we do love you. But we want to just do the stuff that we love because this is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
Right. And that's one of the things you notice when you start doing a podcast is it's not all fun. Hello. You know what I
It's
mean?
No.
And
very
especially when you have a partner, you want to make sure that there's like a really good balance in not only like how you work together, but also how you respect each other behind the scenes too. And, making sure you're being, I know Niall can be spending right now working on his design business. Like he doesn't need to be doing this with me, and I'm sure you feel the same way when you were working together. So it's like, if you're going to spend the time doing it, for me, my motivation was always like, we just want to help designers. We just want to
Yeah.
help the community. Like that is the goal. And we knew that there were, because of that COVID situation and everyone,
Yeah.
like every day we were getting messages from designers saying they were burned out every day. Like, I mean, every single day, and sad stories, closing business or, not sure what to do. And we actually hear a lot of those like real business, like issues that, and it's just, we just noticed that word burnout. I have like this image graph and of all the comments. I try to put things in it. It's like on my back end of my data analysis of the Instagram, and burnout was like overwhelming for me. I was like, it's getting bigger and bigger.
And that
Yeah.
since this is
for
a
the word
second
cloud.
since it is a second business for us, we have to really look at that closely. Like one of the phrases we like to say is the juice worth the squeeze? Like we have to really make sure that's true. And we do that in our own businesses too. Like if we're spinning on things, why? Like, is there a way to make this simpler? Can we cut it? Can we automate it? Like we talk about that kind of stuff a lot on our show and how we apply that to our businesses. So we had to take our own advice with this show. And we did it. Like now it's
Yeah.
kind of a well-oiled machine, I would say. I mean, the Asana tasks.
No, we're
Sean's
able to
got
take
that
time
child.
off, and nothing.
Yeah.
Our assistant
we
Sarah
work in
has
our
really
strengths.
done like she's as we were doing stuff, we were like, okay, observe us do this. Okay, now you do all the SOPs that do that. Like
make a process.
make
please.
it so that way we don't miss stuff, or like we have advertisers and sponsors, and so we want to provide a great experience for them the same way we do in our design businesses. So there's a lot of parallels. Once you've learned to run a business, a lot of stuff repeats itself. And once we relied on that expertise we had independently, I feel like we've gotten to a good groove with it. We make sure we block time for ourselves. We tell each other when we're going to be super stressed. We've learned to say like, okay, next week I'm almost MIA as far as you're concerned. So this is our last day to talk about the podcast,
Yeah.
or this is, and we would set boundaries like that with clients too for our design work. So I think it's good that
Sure.
we have adopted that same mentality. We treat each other sometimes like we're each other's client. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be late for that meeting. I'm not going to cancel a recording session. I'm going to do everything I can to show up for you. And then when stuff happens, we give each other grace.
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's the way any partnership needs to run, and it is certainly, also having that thought of like worst case scenario exit plan too. Like we want to, if it ever does end up that this isn't going to work for whatever reason for either of us, whatever life happens, we're going to be friends, and
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. And
Yeah.
and you have a lot of loyal listeners. What is the
Mm.
feedback that you're getting from the community? Was it immediate support? Has it just been kind of like a growth thing?
It's definitely
I think we had
grown,
people
but
coming into our DMs like immediately though. We had some people who are part of our loyal hotties on our Patreon community now that were like the first people to follow us back, to write reviews. We did coaching for a very short period. It was more like, it wasn't
it's
coaching,
like
it was
office
more
hours kind of.
other designers trying to, they're like an office hour of just like, I'm using Acuity for scheduling and I'm so frustrated. Like, am I doing it wrong? And they were just looking for kind of like someone to bounce an idea off of. And some of those early supporters showed up there because they wanted to talk about stuff they were struggling with or help me look at my website. And the common thread has always just been they're missing community. They don't have wherever they are. They don't have community. They don't feel like they have enough helpful resources, or they feel excluded from whatever local resources do exist for designers. They don't feel like it's meant for them.
I mean,
Oh wow.
the idea.
You're not alone in thinking that. Like, I mean, there's a lot of, I think that you're right. I mean, we've struggled with that too. And there's the standard associations. I think it's,
Mhm.
I kind of feel like there's an inherent flaw in the system, because if you're in a room with people from your city, it's so much harder to be real with people who are
Mhm.
like legit in your city. Like you could be talking about someone that's their uncle, you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
Or their
yes.
best friend. So
Right.
you could be like, I'm having such a hard time with my client. Who is it? Oh, that's my cousin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and that's what gets people to stop saying anything in those local chapter associations. And I think that's really how being online and having these kind of outlets allowed people to be free of that and be able to say, this is really
Mhm.
what's going on. Because before they could show up in their nice outfit,
Yeah,
and
everyone's wearing a blazer. Like,
they'd be
it's
like,
not like let your hair down and
yeah,
have a kiki. Like, it's very like we're
no,
showing up as a professional
no,
version of us. And there's a time and place for that too, of
right.
course. But yeah, that was pretty much like from the beginning with when I pitched Sean about this. Like, I love our conversations. I love that we can laugh, we can cry, we can bounce ideas. We don't always have the answers. Like, we're in the trenches
Mhm.
together. So it's not prescriptive at all. Like, we help and there's answers sometimes, but I love the podcasts that are, I love being a fly on the wall. Like, maybe I'm a voyeur. Like, I don't know. I love feeling like I'm in the room with friends, and that's how we always wanted the show to feel. And that's a lot of the feedback we've gotten, where people feel like they know us, which I love that. There's a shorthand, and I identify as an introvert, so I really always want people to feel very
Hugging Niall.
comfortable. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to feel intimidated
But
by us.
Yeah.
I think that's what I find. I think that's probably what the magic is for you guys, because a lot of times people don't even want you to give them the answer, right? They want to know that you are like sitting there with them, that you hear them, right? You know, it's that age old adage where it's like, the person comes in the room and they have a problem, and then the other person's like, well, what you need to do is, and I'm like, I'm not even asking you to give
Yep.
me a solution. I'm just asking you to hear me. I'm just asking you to listen. And that seems to be what you guys are providing. Like, you're providing a space where someone can just be, and you guys can share. And there's sort of like this reflectory. It's sort of like a mirror. You guys are a mirror back to that vulnerable space that we live in as designers. So I think that's
Yes.
probably
Mhm.
what the magic is, for you
Yeah, and
guys.
there's 10 ways to solve every
Absolutely.
Thank you for
problem.
noticing that.
Yeah, because there's so
Yeah, it's
many
not,
ways to
like you
solve
said,
a
it's not about
problem.
having the answers.
Yeah. We all have
That's right.
different
Yeah.
And there's so
clients.
many
We all have
business
different
models, just in
businesses.
general, right?
We
I mean,
we all have different personalities. Like,
That's right.
so there's so many ways to solve a problem. Sean and I don't always agree, or we have different approaches, And there's 5 other versions of
Mm-hmm.
that could be had too. So we're always learning. Like this is like I learn every day.
And now we try to be
Exactly.
each other's like devil's advocate because
Yeah.
after a while, like we are very much aligned on a lot of like ideas and processes in not just in Hot Young Designers Club for the show or anything, but in our businesses, we've learned to really rely on each other's expertise. We question things with each other, we push each other. And I think because we know that we could fall into agreeing with each other because we like each other and our ideas, we also purposely try to say, I hear you, but just what if it was the complete opposite? Like,
Or-
is there something you're ignoring? And I think that
I think this is
respectful
coming up for
challenging
you
of the status
again.
quo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't see this, but I see it in you, or this is the same problem happened the last project. And that reflection is something that a lot of solo designers don't get until they have employees and someone who's
Right.
with them as stuff is happening.
And they may
But
not
we're
speak
like each
up.
other's
not even
employees.
nothing
But
to
they
that-
may not speak
to say
up.
that, right?
Yeah, they might not feel
That's
empowered
right,
to
yeah.
do. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you're the boss, right? So why would I tell
it's
you
a different
your
dynamic?
Yeah, why would I
Absolutely.
tell you your proposal process is trash if you like it and you're my boss? Like, I'm gonna keep getting paid, you know?
Yeah, or automate me
Right.
out of a job. Like we're not going to speak
No.
up for that.
Oh yeah.
Go
Have
ahead.
you found that the tips you're giving is the feedback at all changing lives? I'm curious what
Oh.
the response of that part of it is.
We've heard that not
I don't
changing
know if I
lives,
could say that.
but we're not saving lives. But we have heard that we have definitely helped people have different outlooks, or just we do sell tools on our website that try to streamline certain things that we've struggled with. I mean, we get fangirl feedback of, yeah, like we've helped people grow in
do.
their businesses a lot.
They were like, I really needed this.
or they watch us
like,
grow
Yeah.
I don't
too,
have
like,
anybody.
They send us gifts sometimes because they watched us grow and they're congratulating us on things that we've had, seeing milestones in our individual businesses, which is so
That's
amazing.
that like rooting for you effect.
Yeah,
that
which we do the same for
because
them.
we're working designers.
Like I love
Yeah.
that there's
Like
people
I'm
that
constantly
I watch.
I'm in their DMs and I'm like one of our loyal. I know we talk about her. I'm not gonna keep calling her. Heather or that we have a couple that stick with us that are constantly like they're right there. One of them, she has this gorgeous project, and it's a like a local transitional housing program for women and children and families, and she's made it beautiful. There's nothing about it that feels like a sanitized kind of like corporate housing thing. It feels so residential. It feels so personal. It feels so inviting and fun.
Anyone would live
And
there.
I went into her DMs and I'm like, if you do not pitch this to every outlet that will take it locally, you're being silly. Like the community would love to do a news spot touring that facility and letting the community know that this is there. It doesn't have to be about you, the designer, but I was just like rooting for her for people to see this project because she wants more commercial work. And this project is exactly that. But if she doesn't run with it, who's going to see, that work?
Beyond her
and so I
Instagram
just am trying to
followers,
like I want to root for her to try the stuff that's very uncomfortable when you've got that first project that could do that. And it's scary and you feel like nobody will like it or it's not good enough,
I think that is so needed because that is it's honestly, I would say more than 50% of what interior design community is doing is giving people confidence to know what they want to do. I feel like every question we get, I feel like they already know what they want to do, but they just want permission to do it.
Yes.
They want to say, I am not going to take this anymore.
Mhm.
No, you can't have my resources and shop at me.
right.
I will not stand for it. But it's hearing another 50 designers telling them, yeah. And I think that you've got a whole lot of that within what you're doing too. I mean, you've got the podcast, you have the Patreon, you have the Instagram where people are able to talk to each other and have that sense of community. And that's what we all need. I feel like this industry, there's so many fundamental work-life balance problems. There are so many fundamental like work security problems. We pulled recently, I think you might have seen, we polled designers about their income,
Mm-hmm.
and we got 1,000 responses in our story, which is usually only get like five,
Wow.
300, 400. We got 1,000 responses on the poll, and it was like, do you make under 100,000, 100 to 100, 200, 200 to 300, or 300 plus? 52% were under 100.
Yeah. Not
Mhm.
surprised.
And in major areas where I know 100 is a lot, but it's like there are some places in the country 100 is not a living wage.
And
you
not
know?
for
No,
how hard
in
we
like
work.
greater Los Angeles, it won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a dual income household in greater LA, and especially if you're a designer who's trying to live near your potential clients,
Right.
Right.
those tend to be more expensive areas to live. So
Exactly.
even if you want a studio apartment in Hollywood so you can just get to your projects fast,
Oh,
$3,000, you want a decent place, like
Right.
the
Yeah.
$100,000 annually gets lost really fast, and that's probably pre-tax for everybody who responded.
Well, that's
to.
under
Like,
100 grand, so that could be
Yeah.
anything. I mean,
Yeah.
that could be $30,000 a year. That could be
Mhm.
$20,000 a year. And on top of that, we polled designers about retirement savings and succession plans and things that are like,
God.
do you have insurance? And
Yeah.
privately, a lot of interior designers don't,
Any
and that's
insurance?
the scary stuff. Some don't.
Yeah, because
I
if
think that
they have a partner, they probably get it through
Well,
a
not
partner's
health
insurance
insurance,
or
but
more corporate work or
some
like
don't
business
know that they
insurance.
should
You
have
mean?
proper business insurance. I mean, this is
Mm.
stuff that, as you well know, part of what you're doing is teaching them all of the things they didn't learn in design school. Business education
Mhm.
is the missing link in what we're all doing. So you're
I'd
doing it,
agree.
and you're serving it with like humor and fun, and I love that you're doing that, because that attracts them. I mean, no one wants to sit there and listen to the business side if they're not getting fed a little bit of fun in it. I
well,
mean,
both sides are
it's
needed.
other
Like,
than that, it's an infomercial.
yeah, but like the heavy business podcasts are super needed because they are educational
Sure.
and like I mean that's basically my design school was those podcasts for the first year. And so those are necessary, but we just wanted to fill a hole of like we just want to like we call like part of the angle we say is like he's your gay best friend, I'm your big sister, and those are the roles we provide in our lives a lot of the time. Like I'm the oldest daughter of two brothers.
Mhm.
Like I'm used to telling people what to do and encourage and not beat around the bush, but we all kind of
Right.
need that.
Yeah. Funny, I'm the older sister too, and Niall's a gay best friend, so we did the same thing.
We all
We
need
all a
one
good
of us.
format.
Exactly.
They're key
Yeah.
roles in everyone's life.
Is there one thing that you would do differently if you had to do this all over again? Or are there a million things that you would do differently
In my design business.
in the podcast? Yeah.
Oh.
I think we
I think honestly we were at a place where we could have created the sustainability we needed by finding a way to monetize at least to a very small degree early. Would have removed a lot of stress just to have an editor, just to have systems set up. And I think that's probably true for so many businesses, but we just thought we were starting something casual.
Well, it was a
I think a lot of
business.
designers think that about their business,
Yeah, it was a business without
Yeah,
a customer, like without a paying customer in any way. We had to reverse engineer
Uh-huh.
how to do that. Not like we're flooded in cash and paying ourselves big paychecks or anything now, but just the basics. We were like, okay, you paid $30 for this month's Zoom subscription. You're going to pay $30 on that one. Like we were just splitting every little cost and starting to stress ourselves out. So yeah, we had to like invent a way to have a customer, and it was sort of, I felt ironic. We're a business podcast that didn't structure a business in the way it would support itself. So
The irony is not
Sure.
lost. Yes.
I mean, I think that a lot of people start things that
which is why
they
it's
don't necessarily
authentic.
view as businesses. And then it develops in that direction when you actually have an audience. In the beginning, you don't have an audience. You don't have a business. You don't have anything to sell. So
Right.
it's hard to like get those sponsored don't have any listeners.
Well,
you
I
know,
think a lot
yet.
of business
You have to kinda-
podcasts are a podcast is typically a marketing arm for a business. And our
Absolutely. Yeah.
businesses, we were marketing to our competitors, like
Right.
we're
Right.
designers
Yeah.
starting a podcast for designers. So we had to figure out how to like have a little bit of income from that. Like I wasn't
What are
getting
the biggest
business
questions
clients from
that
it.
the audience has of you? What are they asking the most? Is it always money? Is it systems? Is it
Oh my
A lot
God.
of how to talk to clients about money, confidence in that.
Yeah.
A lot of how to talk to clients about the difficult situations. And I think some of it, my think is, I think that a lot of designers haven't worked in high pressure environments where those types of things would come up regularly, so that they learned a language. And like I worked in finance and corporate banking for 13 years, and I had to talk to people about their accounts being overdrawn when I was a teller. I had to help people who had fraud and all their money got taken out of their accounts and they have to pay their rent. Like when you work with high pressure situations, eventually you learn to like turn off that fight or flight response, turn off the, oh my God, you hate me, this is about me, like taking it personal response. It's hard to reprogram our nervous systems to not respond immediately to that. And a lot of designers are asking us tons of questions about how do I handle this, respectfully, but also stand my ground and like,
and get out of
and
my
so
own
much of it is
way, because
so
we all have
nuanced.
money stories. I mean, I think Shaun,
Mhm.
one of your strengths is your
Oh my God,
background,
yeah.
that you
Absolutely.
you were used to money being a product that you talked about, where I'm coming
Yeah.
from a creative industry where my product was design services. So like that was a translation for that side of this business, but really talking about money and the highly personal and sensitive topic it can be depending on what the situation is, was something I really had to push through and make it a little bit more everyday, laissez-faire. Like, yes, this is serious, but I'm not going to hesitate around talking about it because we need to. It's still hard.
I think that we now I've had so many conversations about that, because we're like, the like feeling is, okay, I'm gonna try to fix it and not tell it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go behind the scenes and go underground and try to fix it before they ever even knew. And
The number of things we do that you're like, I'm not proud of this, I have to do this, like I lost some money here and maybe I didn't make any money, but
No one got mad
okay,
at
they're
me,
happy
but
and
no
no
one got
one's
mad
like,
at me.
no one's
Yeah.
angry.
yeah,
I didn't
no
have
one
to
did that.
I didn't have to
Blah.
write them a check, but I wrote checks out of my money. Like, yeah,
I
every
know.
day.
That's the stuff that I'm like, okay, enough of this. We need to, and I know that we're all handling this with like humor and fun, but at the same time, we've got to get these designers, all of our communities, to say you have a right to earn a living. And guess
Yeah.
what?
100%.
This is their house. You're not going to leave. You're not going to take this stuff with you, or their commercial product. Like, you must make money. You cannot buy anything for the client. You cannot, fudge your hours and say you didn't work when you did. You have to be paid for what you're doing. Or why are we doing this? What, if
Right.
you're working 16 hours a day and you're paying yourself $30,000 a year or less, no, you don't have a business.
Right.
You have to treat it like a business.
Yeah. It's really challenging. I think the leap for a lot of designers moving from sort of the like hobbyist or career shifter or becoming a stay-at-home parent and then also wanting to like stay involved in a career like design. It's that leap from I'm going to work at that hobby level and I'm working this as my full-time like living. There's a big shift emotionally, there's a big shift financially, the confidence with taking risk. Like a lot of designers struggle with making that first hire because they know they need to grow and a good employee will make them more money, but they're freaked out and they've never done it and no one can help them. And so that's kind of part of that growth from it's just my little thing I'm doing to no, this is like I need to make a living off of it. And I think there's so much baggage that comes with that.
And
Oh yeah.
and I think one of
Yeah.
our
And one
one of the things that we do is we say that, but we also say like, but I struggle with it too. Like it's still hard.
I'm
Like
not going to tell you a lie.
no, not gonna lie. Like I know I need to hire, and I'm like freaked out of doing it, and I have reasons why, but I'm gonna push through eventually. Like we're with them, so but we still like have to speak
Yeah.
what the path has to be, and we have to like get brave
Well,
and go down it, get our ducks in a row to do it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I read something recently that I thought was really sort of interesting about that process. And it was like if the first hires, if you're like consider yourself like the CEO, and the first hires you do should be more generalists. Like your job as the CEO is to fire yourself from as many tasks as possible. And then your first hires should be very general. They should be able to do a lot of things, and then eventually be able to manage people to do a lot of different things. And then as you grow, you get specialists that are really, really good, better than you, that item. Like they might be better at procurement or project management than you ever even thought of being.
Yeah.
But that they are that. And then you have these layers. And that's how you build like, that sort of pyramid
Yeah.
pyramid scheme.
Yeah. It's really it's interesting because I'm hearing you say it, Lori, and I'm realizing like, oh, this is also a predictable pattern for a lot of designers of I really want to hire this type of person, and it's
Sure.
this unicorn. They're imagining a non-existent type of person. Truly,
Right.
it's like you hear about those very rarely where they're like, oh yeah, my sister-in-law was gonna have a baby and she came into my business and I couldn't do it without her. Like those are the like magic stories where you just had the right person, the right time.
Who had
They grow,
accountant
they want to do
skills,
that.
knows CAD too.
Yeah,
Right.
something happened. But the reality is that for most of us, we're going to hire some people a couple drafts people who aren't great. We're going to have to fire someone. We're going to have to cancel
Yeah.
a freelancer's contract because it's not good or it's not the quality we want or we're not the right personality fit. And maybe because like my business is my baby. I don't want to bring someone in who's not going to do the best, but I can't do all that work if I don't bring someone anyway. So
Right.
there's good with the bad, and it doesn't mean that we have to lose like the character of our businesses, the style, the way we like to run it, the energy level, if we like it to be more calm or if we like it to be bustling. Like we can still control that. We just then have to switch to being a manager, which I don't know if every designer really wanted to be. I did management. I don't really want to do it anymore. So I
Right.
know at some point as the team changes for me, it's not going to be me at the top of the pyramid with everyone calling in for vacation days or I don't want to hear
Right.
about the assistant who's been tardy 7 days in a row. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Just make it
Right.
like
You
make
want the
it go
business
away.
manager that will take
Yeah.
that on.
And that would be different for me, but I still hear
Yeah.
there's so many designers who found that their role is better as a leader of their business, a manager and a leader than it is in design because they can bring in even more skilled designers than they could be.
Right.
It's fantastic. It's really
understanding
great.
yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's like understanding who you are as a person and what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then trying to like, puzzle piece other people that have things that you don't have, and that's always the hard part because you always want to pick someone who's just like you. You're like we're very similar. We should just work together, and that's usually not what you
No,
want.
I
You
don't
want
need
someone
another
who's
one
kind
of me. I need the opposite.
I need the opposite in my life as well. I always need like the person who is very like a quick responder on things versus me. I'm going to be a very like bring me the stuff that needs problem solving. I'm going to need time to work on it. I need time to figure out a strategy if it's a floor plan or things, but I need the reactionary type of person who makes sure like my assistant keep that inbox better not get overflowing. Anything
Right.
urgent gets processed to the top of the list and you're pulling that stuff out of the mess of all the other stuff. That's not where I'm going to be the best. It's I literally tell her, bother me. If you saw that is due, text me, hey, did that happen? Did you talk to this person? They've been trying to get a hold of you. Like I really need that sort of babysitter personality because
Yeah.
I'm going to be off doing a bunch of stuff. Other people would hate that. Other principal
Yeah.
designers would hate to be treated like they're being micromanaged. I need someone to keep me pushing. That's
Yeah.
just how my personality is going to be.
I love that. And I wanted to say to you too, like, thank you a million times because we had a moment, I want to say, I don't know, was it like a year ago where I would put something out about photographers. And we won't get into it. It was a whole thing. I was
Mm.
basically trying to help designers understand what copyright is, how to protect their rights in copyright. And I happened to show something that came in from a designer that was a group of photographers that was like they literally were sending out an email that said, once you photograph the client's site, your profit hasn't ended there.
Oh,
Here are all
right.
the other places
Mhm.
you can sell those photos.
I
And
re-
I'm like,
I looked at
listen,
this when you sent it.
yeah, look, this is what's going out in some of these photography, these are interiors photography groups. And I just was like, I don't think that I know for a fact the designers don't want this. They don't want their client's home to be in a Home Depot ad with the lighting swapped
Right.
out. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're going there's no way they would sign for that. The reason that you're able to do it is because you do own the copyright because you're the photographer, but
Mhm.
it's like you do own it, of course, but it's because of their ignorance of the law. Because they would never hire
Yeah.
you under those terms. Like ever,
Designers
ever,
were
ever.
ignorant.
Or if they
Yeah.
like knew, yeah, if designers knew and knew that that maybe there aren't as many options, like you're kind of forced into it if your local community of photographers decide that that's how they're going to do it. You're like strong-armed into it
Well,
almost.
historically, that
right.
they own all the
I know.
rights, so it like the photographers are legally in their right, but is it right? Is the question I think we're having.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get I get that is their art and I do respect it. And I absolutely know it takes a lot to become a very good
For sure.
photographer. Just like
Mhm.
same thing for a designer. It takes a
Mhm.
lot to become a very good designer. And I'm in agreement that there are certain pathways in which they should be paid extra. If it gets into national magazine, there should be an agreed upon price. But I've seen, behind the scenes, I've seen a lot of things that I do not agree with. Like, I had a designer the other day that wrote in about their photographer doesn't want them to submit to a contest, like an award, because that's against the
What?
copyright and that it's only for her social media and her website. And so she's not able to take the photography from her project and submit for a national award from a
That's
national association. And that's ridiculous. I mean, why would the whole point is to uplift the designer's career. That's why you're
Mhm.
getting these pulling them in, you're paying for it to get
A lot of money.
and they're translating your work.
Yeah.
A lot of money, an insane amount of
Yeah.
money in some cases. We
Other designers
had
tell us they had to ask permission just to submit for like online features. Like a
Yeah.
digital feature for us, and you're like, this is wild. What's the
Yeah.
point then if they can't
Yeah.
And the thing
show
is,
their
Like no one's getting
work?
any money
we're
here.
not getting paid. Like that's the thing is we've spent years sometimes of our lives and we're not getting paid to do any of these submissions. So it's really just for press or PR.
Sometimes it costs you money.
Yeah.
Like let's
Yes.
just be fair.
Usually
Sometimes they're
it
making you
does.
pay to submit.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
So now you have
pitching
to
right now and
pay,
it's going to
and the
cost me
magazine's not going to pay for it.
never.
Right. So what ends up happening is the designer gets squeezed. They'll end up
Mhm.
having to pay for it. So I was just trying to have the conversation because the whole point was like, be educated about what you're signing, right? If you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
photography contract, maybe you redline it a little bit and say no to this and yes to this, and this is what the standard rates are, and this is what I'll pay you, and agree to that all up front. And they came for me hard. I had like, I don't know, 100 photographers in my like DMs and in
That's
the
right.
stream. I didn't shut it down. I let them vent, but they were like, you don't respect photographers. You act like then you just take the pictures. And like, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to educate the designer about what their rights should be. And I'm sorry, but the fact that you're acting this affronted about what I'm trying to say, which is you shouldn't be selling their work
Yeah.
to
It
magazines,
should be a
to
shared
brands.
agreement.
Like that should be because I am telling you, they do not know that you do that. They have no idea that that's happening. I have no
Right.
designers who've paid $10,000 for a photographer, walked into High Point Market, there was like 3-story banner with her personal kitchen in
Oh,
with her
because
with
the
photos on-
photographer licensed it.
Yes, and the lighting was swapped out for a new brand's light fixture from Photoshop.
And
Wow.
zero
And
credit.
didn't know. Walked in, 0 credit, 0
Notice.
0 notice. Just total
Yeah.
surprise. Like that is not professional behavior in
Well,
my.
and it's
not
not
that
a
they have a right to
partnership.
do it.
Yeah, just because you have the legal
Yeah.
right to do something, I just want to work with people that we are helping each other lift our businesses. And I
Mhm.
think every designer should know who they're partnering with. Because if they're, I mean, sure, do like, if that's your MO as a photographer, like, do your worst, but your clients should know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
we
Right.
know
I think
designers
the world
that have
of the
gone
internet
stuck.
is so big. Yeah. 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 But it was really awesome that you guys had my back.
We did, and
Because
we
you're the
had
only
our
ones.
we had
The
our own
designers were
episode
like,
about
I
it.
can't
We had-
offend these photographers.
We have it. The hard part is like in talking with photographers, it's one of those things that like, yeah, I hear you. Like and I think there's this big focus on like, let's talk about copyright law. I'm like, there are a lot of things that are legal that are not nice. Like,
And
Right.
maybe not
hear
like
you.
up
I
with
hear
the
you
times.
that if this was an issue,
Like when
but-
they wrote those laws, there wasn't
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
and Photoshop like there is now. Like I just think that it needs to be re-looked at. It's not. We're not talking about film for the most part anymore. And I've had one-on-one conversations with photographers that get it, and they're scared. Like we had one really great photographer. She wouldn't come on the show because she was afraid of the exact same thing that happened to you. So
Right. Because it's like a little photography.
Because
mafia.
her community
put a
may
hit out on
turn
her.
on her just for having a conversation. You're like, wait, like
That's crazy.
basically what I'm talking like. You would be aghast if the interior design industry was still refusing to acknowledge the role the internet plays in the way we do business. So why aren't photographers having to look at their industry and especially if it's specialized like this? Hey, I don't care what you do for your commercial architecture projects that you photograph or if those are different. But in a different space, if you're niched in, it's like, this is the place where you can customize what you do. Like, I'd love a photographer to maybe discount the rate I pay for a shoot if I can agree to get another license from the contractor or the builder who wants the photos also. Like, I'd love to feel like there's some mutual growth in that. That
Because-
if I pitch a project, I'd love to get something out of that for them. If they sell the pictures to GE Monogram, yeah, I do. Give me an affiliate link so I can get something when you sell that licensing deal. Like, you wouldn't have any of that without me. That's
and there
if
are
you're
That's
going to
my
keep making
point.
money, then I want
and
to.
there are photographers that are doing
That's
that
the
now.
point I made.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship. They cannot just go out and
Yeah.
they're not shooting nature. They're shooting work that was made by a lot of people with a lot of hands. Like that costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
I don't get it at
Exactly.
all. I
And
mean, I know
the
it's a
designer
legal
who's
thing,
paying
but
for that.
it's all okay. Let's be
9
real.
times
It's
out of 10,
always
it's
the
the designer.
designer that pays
know?
for everything. It's always the designer that
Always.
pays for everything. We pay for the shoot.
Yes.
We pay
Always.
for the mistakes. We pay for the lunch. Like this is I like it back to all of it. We pay for the tips. Like we pay.
You
for
got her
fucking
going.
everything. Don't get
It's
me
the
going.
truth.
It always comes back to us.
I know. And I'm so sick of it. I'm just like, I just want
It-
us to band together. I want to band together to say, no. I want to band together, say, look. And that's part of like educating designers about what copyright is. Yes, they have a right to do it, but we don't have to sign. We don't have to hire that photographer. We don't have to
Yeah,
sign
I
that
was going to say,
contract.
I don't even have that conversation. I don't even have, like, first of all, I know some wonderful photographers and they would
Me
never,
too. Yeah.
they would never, and I'm not having that conversation. I'm not having that
Correct.
conversation because guess what? If I didn't do the work, what would you photograph?
Yeah.
If I didn't do the work, what would you photograph? So we're not having this conversation. We're not having this conversation. So go take a picture of something else. You know, if Naomi Campbell didn't walk the runway, what would you photo? Like, you have to have the subject. So if you don't have the subject, then you have nothing to photograph. So
Yeah.
let's not talk. I'm
Yeah,
not
Agreed.
having
just
that
want we just
conversation.
want fair. I mean, it's not like anyone here is getting. There are no fat cats in the situation. There's
No.
it's photographers
No.
or designers. So why can't we have the conversation and be fair to one another? And that's pretty much what I was
Exactly.
saying. And Sean was like, had my back, and all the rest of the designers were like crickets because they're like, I don't want to offend my photographer, and it was an all day like attack.
Well, because there
Yeah.
are
2 days.
legal intricacies that we don't totally
Mm-hmm.
understand. So, like, I'm not about to
Sure.
try to fight a legal battle with anybody. But yeah, what is like right and fair? And I think, yeah, every
I
designer
think
needs to be
that's
asking
all
their
we're
photographer.
asking is. And honestly, why are you so afraid for us to have this conversation? Why are you so afraid for the designers to be educated about this? And that's kind of a red flag, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Yeah. 'Cause
Because
secure in your
in any
skills.
other industry, you would have like market research, and they would know, oh wait, the market won't support this. They spend millions of dollars trying to make sure that a service or a product or something will work. And I don't know that the same thing has been done like to that degree for a lot of photographers. They just pick it up and think, oh, this is just the contract that everybody's doing, or my
Right.
attorney
It's
advised
a
it.
group and they just see it
Yeah.
How it's
from their
always been.
perspective and not.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that was pretty funny that you're saying the market research thing, because I did a poll that same day and it was like, would you hire a photographer if you knew they were selling the images to a brand and licensing them to a brand and photoshopping something of yours out and putting it in? And they were like, all of you were like, no. The photographers that were complaining come in and said yes. But I
Yeah,
was
of
like, the
course.
photographer was like, you're just trying to belabor this point. And I'm like, no, actually, he's like, you just want it to, you know, I think he was saying something about me wanting to make the point in a ridiculous way. And I was like, no, I'm actually trying to educate you. I want you to see that your market doesn't want this. Here's a group of interior designers, and I'm trying to show you that your own market these are the people you're selling to do not want what you're doing. So I want you to recognize that and maybe do something differently. Maybe you work a deal with them. Maybe they're okay with it. Maybe they're not. Maybe it depends on the client, because at the end of the day, it's somebody's home, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to kind of like, you might have ownership of it, but they have true ownership of it. They bought everything and it's their house, you know?
Yes.
And some clients would absolutely not be okay with that. It's a personal thing. And so
I don't
you
think
know
most
that
of my
more than they
photographers
do.
they don't get releases from I don't think I've used 3 different photographers over the years. None of them have gotten release from the client, which would to me would make whatever they have in their contract completely negated, because the subject hasn't, to Niall's point, the subject didn't agree to be photographed. So I have the right to photograph in my contract. My client
Yep.
agreed with me doing this.
Yep.
They did not
Exactly.
agree that you could go out and then sell the images and do anything
didn't
you
even
want
know.
with them in their own home. They didn't sign the release. None of them have ever signed a release form
Right.
to
Right.
consent to that.
Which
So
I
a really
think
good
that they
point.
don't understand that point at all
Mhm.
either. So
so they might be, it's like there's messiness on all of it, and that's why
Sure.
the most valuable thing is it'd be cool to have a conversation where we like are productive and talk to each other and try to understand. And
And there's a mutual
I think there's probably a
agreement.
lot of space.
Yeah.
And
that's with
in
any of the associations that like are with like I would love to sit down
oh
and talk
yeah,
to more contractors and tile people and
oh my
you know
god, I
the
want to talk to
associated
more trade
industry,
vendors about
trade
their
vendors. Yeah.
programs, and
Yeah.
Their
Absolutely.
websites.
Absolutely. We want the only way we can help this industry grow and prosper is by helping each other and trying to have empathy for one another to see each other's point of view. I really think that that's like when it boil it all down, that's the most important thing to make us all better.
I agree.
mm-hmm.
I agree.
I also, this is, I don't know, kind of
So-
controversial, but I also always wonder if, as an industry of designers, we're taken advantage of because we're primarily women and we don't
yeah.
speak up or fight
Gay
back.
men as well, you know, too. It's like
Right.
we are minorities all the way
Yeah.
around. Typically, it's mostly
Yeah.
women and LGBTQ, you know,
For
gay men.
sure.
So that's
Mhm.
that is what we're a vulnerable population.
And we
it,
maybe don't
that
speak
doesn't
up.
mean we always hit it in the face.
Yeah. So we're not speaking up to photographer.
Yeah.
It's usually male photographers, I'm guessing, that are the ones that are clapping back at you. And contractors, like some of these more aggressive types, not by industry, but just personality, I think it's harder for us to speak up. And then it just continues.
It's a good thing.
And the manufacturers
You're
are
so right.
primarily,
Really good
Right.
like the
Yeah.
manufacturers are owned by a lot of men that they sell to us.
That's
and
true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just kind of a weird power dynamic, I think, that's happening on a big
And
level.
for years,
That's true,
they were
yeah.
in a place where the customer doesn't get an opinion in a lot of wholesale industry. It's like, well, we sourced this, planned it, got it from another country, got it here to market. The only thing you do as the client to give us feedback is you buy it or you don't.
Well, they didn't even let us
and
buy
now
it
there
for a
is
long
this
time.
dialogue of like,
Right.
that's the
Right.
part is they a lot of those vendors, there are still a lot of them out there when we go to markets, and you realize they have not learned how to communicate with all of their customers. And
Designers.
so they're missing out on that from designers because they don't want to engage in a conversation, or they like the way it is, or whatever their reasoning. But I think it'd be great if they would just open the door.
It's
Get a couple
changing. I think
designers on
it
an
is
advisory council. Like design,
Well,
I feel like
we
a lot of
wanna-
designers would volunteer to make their industry better.
Well, I'm telling you, the place to do that is I'm just gonna throw it out there. I volunteered to do the conference part of Design Edge. I don't know if you guys have heard
yeah.
of it, but it's
Mhm.
actually coming to Anaheim in September, the 17th and 18th, I believe. We're gonna have some people, a bunch of people coming from all parts of California, San Diego, LA, trying to bust them in as much as possible. But we want to make sure, like the reason for this is we actually have some, flagship brands from High Point, KBiz, and there's
love
senior
it.
leadership there. There's local reps there, but they're really, the point of it is get business education, get meetings and conversations with these brand people, like people within the brand that you don't get to talk to at High Point, that they're behind
Yeah.
closed door, they're the VP. You want to tell them, like, this is what I love about working with your company. This is what I don't love about working with your company. And then you want them to tell you, this is how to sell the products better.
Yeah.
Like, you might not know the backstory of this product line. You might not know the backstory of why we did this. And you want to get as much of that out of them as you possibly can. And of course, like pricing and information and like, what can I do to make more money and all of those things. But also you want the stories. I mean, the funny part about it is like, there's a whole section of brands that it's not like Mercedes or Louis Vuitton. Like no one has heard of these brands. And so you have to and they're expensive and so you have to go to your client and sell things that they've never heard of and tell them that it's very expensive. And then it takes a long time to get here.
But there's a
And
reason for it.
you don't
A good
usually-
reason.
And it sounds suspicious. I won't lie.
It does.
It's
So it's
exclusive.
going to be really great. The last one was in January in Phoenix. He moves it around the country. So he does it twice a year. Lee Hirschberg, he used to work for High Point or within High Point for leasing space. So he knows all the brands. And then he also worked for KBiz. So he's bringing in kitchen and bath, all only to designer brands. So they have to be really truly designer friendly.
Cool.
There's mostly furniture, High Point brands, but there's kitchen bath, and we're bringing in some home automation and some product management and fun things like that too. But it's really, really great.
Wow.
And I hope you come because it's going to be a really,
That sounds cool.
really good show. And
That
we're
sounds amazing.
on it for about 4 years, but the intention is truly exactly what you're talking about. Getting the designers to have real conversations with the brands and
Give us a
open up
voice.
those doors and one another, because we make mistakes too on our side. I mean, we know designers are, sometimes we're not as understanding of what it takes to do what they're doing.
For
So,
sure.
but they have to be truly understanding of what we do too. It works both ways.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been so awesome. I can't believe the hour is already gone.
No, thank you so much. We've
Thank you.
talked
You know,
about
we'll
this
talk to
for a long time.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And we'll make sure that everyone has all of your links and, can get over and find you and absolutely sign up for the Hot Young Designers Club because it's the coolest thing ever. And I so, so love it.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
we're
much.
on every podcast platform, so
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
love having everybody join us and
Do it. Do it.
join
I'm
us for the more
serious.
controversial episodes that Lori's teasing about because we definitely are unfiltered sometimes.
I
Ooh.
love it. I love
Ooh, I
it.
love unfiltered.
Especially
I
on
love
Patreon.
Unfiltered
If you
here.
join
I'm
our
a very big
Patreon.
Unfiltered fan. Yes,
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
you
where
want to
that's where
see
we actually tell the whole client story, not names or stuff like. But I'm like, hold on, this is where it went wrong. This is how much
Oh.
it cost
It's
me.
the real tea.
Like, we're not gonna. That's not on the public podcast because some of it's a little too real.
Well, you don't want the client seeing that.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Thank you both
you
so
so much,
much.
guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's been amazing.